All right, we'll get started again. Hopefully everyone online can hear us. So we'll go directly to Sal, Professor Hernandez, about the UTC that you're involved in. So yeah, please take it away, Sal.
Well, hey, appreciate it. Again, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to present today. And it's good to see that there are a couple of my ex-students or previous students on the actual on online. Both Dayon and Ali are both online. So again, they can critique me anytime. They can send me emails, say, hey, you could have worked on this. But again, I really appreciate the invitation. And so kind of want to just give a brief introduction. Again, I am Dr. Hernandez, Sal Hernandez. I've been here for over 10 years at Oregon State University. I'm an associate professor. I'm also the associate director of our new freight-themed UTC here at at Oregon State. And yeah, so again, I'm going to kind of go over a little bit of overview and then talk about some of the upcoming research projects, research areas that are related to this center and also the collaborations that we're looking to seek with all you all here today in this room. So let me get this moving here to the next slide. So just a quick overview. The winners for the University Transportation Center Awards were announced back in February. There were over 34 University Transportation Centers. This award or these centers were have been around since 1988 when the first act was provided by the federal government. And with this go around, over $435 million in grants was awarded to these 34 UTCs. OSU this year is quite lucky. We are a part of 3 university transportation centers. The one that I'm a part of, which is the Center for Freight Transportation for Efficient and Resilient Supply Chain. Again, it's the only freight-themed center that was awarded this year, or this go around. The other 2 are part of my colleagues, Dr. Chris Higgins and Dr. Jason Weiss. Those are the Center for Coastal Research and Education Actions for Transportation Equity, and then the Center for Durable and Resilient Transportation Infrastructure. So those are the 3 that were awarded. And these tier 1s receive $2 million per year for the next 5 years. So that's quite a bit of funding for the consortiums that are part of these UTCs. To kind of just give you an overview of the UTC that we are a part of and really excited to be a part of, and the great opportunities that we have. We're looking forward to collaborating with ODOT and other state and local agencies here in the state is, the Center for Freight Transportation for Efficient and Resilient Supply Chain. Now, this image that you see back here, I'm a AI buff, so I used Midjourney, which is a AI bot, to create most of my images. So you might see this futuristic images throughout my presentation. So this is a good representation of our center, freight-focused, freight-related. So first, right, our University Transportation Center has falls under specific categories of goals and priorities. The main priority for us, for the federal government, was improving mobility for people and goods. The DOT strategic goals that our center meets are both looking at the economic strength and global competitiveness of freight systems. That's our primary goal, with our secondary goal and a big focus of our center is equity and transformation. And I heard the word equity being spoken here today. So again, that's one of the big focuses that we have through our center. Again, the main focus is one of the main goals for first, then is for us to maintain that U.S. economic competitiveness and security in the world through the supply chain oriented freight research, workforce development, and technology transfer and outreach. And so as a center, and one of the reasons why we were chosen to be the only freight-centric center this go-around is because our spatial distribution throughout the United States. So these are the following members of our consortium, where the University of Tennessee is the head of our center, and the major players are Oregon State University, Texas A&M, and our minor institutions are Cal State Long Beach, North Carolina Agricultural Technical State University, and the University of Illinois in Chicago. So we're pretty well spatially spread, representing every part of the country. Oregon State represents the Pacific Northwest and all of the issues related and challenges related to freight issues in the region. So we're quite excited to represent the center and to receive funding yearly to conduct research on various topics. And I excuse the mess of this slide, but this is more of an informational slide. Again, you will be provided the slides, but this is in general the research thrust areas. We're focused on the freight systems, the systems approaches. What can we do to improve freight both from an economic standpoint, from a safety perspective, and from a planning perspective. So there's different perspectives that we're looking into. So from freight systems to stakeholder behavior, to freight innovations for supply chain, and also definitely workforce development and technology transfer. So this is kind of the general outline of what our center will focus on. But as part of our center, this first year we received funding for some research projects. And so we are just initiated our first go around of research projects, but moving forward, we are asked to definitely collaborate with the state and local agencies to come up with some neat research statements to then be able to leverage the UTC funds with any funds that are available by the agency, so that where the projects can be done and have sufficient resources to do them. So one thing that I wanted to focus here is that our research thrust really looks at our ability to collaborate across agencies and various sectors and various areas within the freight transportation community. It doesn't just have to be the trucking industry or the rail. It can be, it's ports, it's anybody working in the planning side, the data aspect of it. So again, it's looking at that total collaborative perspective when it comes to our center goals. So just to kind of give you an overview of some of the initial research projects, the ones that were funded for this year go around, as part of the initial submission of our proposal were these two following projects. One is generating reliable freight disruption measures with freight telematic data, and then the impact of multimodal freight networks on private sector global distributions. And so these are two projects that are being both led by myself and Dr. Hector Vergara, who's another professor here at Oregon State University. But I'm going to focus a little bit more on this project because that's the one that I'm the major PI on the project, and why it's relevant to our community. And it's also one of the reasons when it comes to thematic research that we're kind of focusing on for the next 5 to 6 years, is the ability for us to use data sources that have been pretty hard to acquire to do this type of research. So when I'm talking about generating reliable freight disruption measures, we're looking at different types of events, different things that could disrupt the freight network. It could be a natural, like snowstorms, like for example this. I remember a few years back, Portland was pretty much shut down when we had Snowmageddon. If you guys remember that episode, and I remember I was flying back from TRB when we landed, and no airplanes were flying out, but we were the last airplane to fly in, and this is kind of what I was I came home to, just trucks on the side of the road, definitely a big disruptor in the movement of cargo for sure that day. And not only are we talking about looking at disruptions from natural stuff, but also looking at forest fires and the effect of fires. And so how do these different disruptions impact freight mobility and freight movements through the region? Does our network is there any resiliencies built in the network, and can we develop resiliency measures for us to kind of analyze and to be able to understand better that the movement and route utilization of these different freight industries and freight types? So again, this research just started October 1st. We're in the preliminary stage. So the research kind of, the idea is presenting a framework that's based off of freight telematic data or electronic logging devices that's being sourced to us by a company called RobinSight. And RobinSight is formerly it was part of eRoad. It pretty much split off from eRoad. And eRoad is a company, is a freight telematic data provider and service provider that's also located in Oregon. But RobinSight provides, is collaborating with us by helping us by acquiring a lot of this freight telematic data to do this research. And just one side note, BTS, the Bureau of Transportation Statistics, is also invested in this project by providing us information and other resources for us to use on being able to build not just a regional understanding of network resiliency when it comes to freight reliability and movement, but also can we expand that research more federally, looking at more at the nationwide perspective. So as part of the study, part of the objectives of this first study is again to generate these reliable freight network resiliency measures using freight telematic data, which again, it's a nuance, it's something new that has not been done before. To again, also because of being able to acquire the data to do this type of research. Again, and also to model freight network disruption scenarios and countermeasures, to study the actual freight disruption cases using infrastructural and crowdsourcing data is available to us through our consortium partners, and also to chart the research path forward for phases and external funding. And this is where as there's an opportunity to collaborate with with the state and also the region to looking at it at a more regional perspective, because it's not just a local issue, it's a regional issue. If I-84 goes down or any of the major freight corridors goes down and we have this backup queuing of the freight systems, how what is that costing us? What's the overall cost and issue with regard to those disruptions? And can we forecast them? Can we predict and provide direction on providing solutions to the freight industry in that case? So again, this is an ongoing project, just started out. So in general, the purpose of our University Transportation Center is really to collaborate with our state and local agencies to leverage the funds that we are receiving from the federal perspective. So every year, we are provided 1 or 2 pretty large projects, funding wise, and are asked to come up with some research statements, research problems that affect our region. ODOT or WSDOT or Idaho DOT or Idaho Transportation Department. So again, any of these areas that may have issues or problems, and we'll be able to work together and develop these problems and leverage funding sources or other resources to come up with some really good problems that can be used by the agencies and by you as planners to help you in your planning processes. So this is kind of a neat thing about the UTCs. This is we are going to be receiving quite a bit of funding to do these research projects. So again, don't be afraid to reach out. I'm always open to discuss different opportunities that we can come up with any freight themed projects or freight related issues. Or we do have a strong relationship with Robin Site, and being able to receive a large number of and good quality freight telematic data for the region to do a lot of our research. And again, we are also working with OTA as a partner in a lot of the projects that we have been conducting in the last few years, and that collaboration will continue moving forward, as well as working with you at ODOT. And also DEQ is another one that definitely can benefit from the work, because a lot of the stuff that we're also concentrating is looking at this idea of improving air quality, especially around ports in those areas. And that kind of is going to be a segue to a future research upcoming research that we're going to be conducting, where we're already collaborating with agencies in the state and also private industry to address those issues. Looking forward to in applications of newer technologies to help us reduce overall or improve air quality and reduce different types of pollutants in the air. So again, I will be actively emailing and presenting opportunities to you as members of the committee. And also, if you want to reach out and talk about opportunities to conduct research or to collaborate, that's a great opportunity for us to sit down together. Our next go around for the next year's research projects will be coming up here pretty soon. It's not November 15th, that's ODOT's, but it's a bit after that. Just to kind of start thinking about some ideas and opportunities to collaborate from any perspective that, again, from air quality to freight movement, to planning, looking at resiliency, anything related to freight and any mode of freight, as well as something that we are considering as far as our work as a center. So that would be, that's a perfect segue into this upcoming research focus areas that we're kind of looking into moving here into the next 5 to 6 years. And pretty much the thematic area is going to be revolved around this data source, right? This electronic logging device data. I just recently had the opportunity to present I was an invited speaker at this year's Innovations in Freight Data Conference in Washington, D.C., where many folks from the Federal Highway and other departments were present and provided great input, and we received opportunities to collaborate there in the future. And the big thing is, how could we use this data to address some of our current challenges, and then what are opportunities that exist for us to use this type of data in planning purposes and improve planning purposes. Currently, I'm sitting on a project with BTS looking at this freight mobility initiative. Again, this is a project where we're looking again at truck probe GPS data that will be, how could states and planning agencies be able to use this data more effectively in their planning processes? So this is a project that is finishing up this year. And it's going to, BTS is looking at how they can start providing this type of information for the planning process, for planning processes for states to use. So this is again, a huge kind of flow of new work that we're looking at now that we have access to this type of data. And we're quite lucky. We're one of two states that are actually have access to this much data as far as from an academic perspective. So again, this is leads into some of the thematic areas and some of the research focuses, some of the areas that we're seeing that we are going to start looking into some direct work into right away is this idea of truck parking. It's a bigger picture than a bigger problem than we imagined. A few years back, I finished a project, and Dayon was actually my grad student on that. If he's still on the call, I don't know if he's still here, but that was his research project that he was on, and it was at the time we were like, why is it really a problem? And then a few years later, oh shoot, there is a problem, not just locally but nationally. So I'm a part of the Trucking Industry Research Committee, and at TRB, and this was one of the big focuses this last TRB on how could we address this issue. And the biggest thing that came up in the meeting is that we don't have data to really address this issue. And again, one of the good things about being a member of this University Transportation Center is giving us the opportunity and also leverages our resources to acquire a lot of this data to do some of these research studies. So when it comes down to it, now we actually started collecting data, and we've been working with RobinSite to conduct just a preliminary analysis, both nationally and regionally, on this truck parking issue. So we're looking at what meaningful data exists within their resources and what other data can we collect to merge with that. So this is just a quick overview, a quick map of 30-minute cluster parking sessions of drivers in the U.S. using RobinSite or eRoad data. And so we were able to, as you can see up here, let me see if I get it right about, where's my pen? See if I can get my pen to work. In the Pacific Northwest, especially Oregon, we're seeing quite a bit of clustering when it comes to truck parking. And if we zoom in further, we start seeing some of these clusters being built, or you're seeing them over a period of time where they're parking, how long they're parking for, days of the week. So a lot of information can be gained from this type of data. And then we can start building opportunities to conduct some research and better understand how freight is parking, flowing, and also from a safety perspective. The reason I mentioned safety is that although you may have been aware of a recent crash that happened at the Sanium rest area just north of Albany. Again, a truck was parked on the side, a van was behind it, and another truck came in and crashed into that van, and we noticed that was some fatalities. But if we zoom in a little closer into the data, and we can start studying, patterns and behavior of parking, we can see here in the Sanium rest area where trucks are parking. Trucks are parking along the highways quite often, right? And a lot of trucking companies, again, this is a second truck parking study that was conducted by ODOT, revealed through a survey that a lot of trucking companies were telling truckers not to park in these facilities because of, there's just opportunity, there's a possibility of PDOs occurring. So being able to have access to this type of data can give us an opportunity to understand truck parking behavior, in addition to developing safety measures to improve safety along those areas, and maybe even help us understand how to redesign or replan or restripe or just rework all these rest areas to increase the capacity or utilization of the trucking industry in these facilities. And that was another project that we did with Eric Havoc and TPAL. We did a smaller study looking at truck parking and improvement, but just looking at different parking markings within the actual facility itself. So being able to utilize this data in a number, again, this is just an example of how we're going to be using this type of data for research, and how we'll be using and collaborating with the University Transportation Center and local agencies to kind of expand this type of work. Other research areas that are upcoming for us is being able to assess the efficacy of EV trucks to reduce port emissions. We recently submitted a project. We're hoping to hear back soon from the Federal Highway if our project was selected, but it has a high probability that it will. But we're working with Morgan Logistics, who led the project, and we have a good collaborative team that includes the Southwest Research Institute, Daimler Truck North America, Star Labs at University of Washington, and then us at Oregon State, providing a lot of that freight information and data and modeling. So this is a direction that we see ourselves also taking on as a University Transportation Centers. How could we improve air quality around port areas, and can this type of data be used to help us understand parking behavior, time of day, and can we help improve that system? I'm almost done. I got, I think, 2 more slides. One more slide. And then another research that we just started looking into and working with Robin side is this idea of looking at urban safety enhancements, associating crash harm with curb utilization through freight telematic data. A lot of larger urban areas are seeing, more larger or heavy vehicles being just parking on the side of the roads, unloading and offloading. These create safety hazards, and it's becoming a larger problem as community starts to flourish, business starts growing, and so this is becoming a big problem. But the issue is there's no data really to understand how big is the problem, or how vast is this problem. So working with freight telematic providers like Robin's site, we can start looking at building a picture and how long are these vehicles being parked along the area, and know how often, what's the frequency, and then be able to come up with some ideas with regard to crash harm and potential for different areas. And can we improve safety? Can we do something to improve safety in those areas? And so this is some of the stuff that we're seeing that are coming from the perspective of what we're looking at here, at least in our research group. Other things that I can definitely talk about is our ability to not just do modeling in a computer, but also bring in folks and simulate and provide, actually create a simulation environment with my colleague David Hurwitz to analyze different issues related to design and truck parking using his truck simulator that we have here at Oregon State. So the modeling, the data, and also having some naturalistic simulation procedures like using a truck simulator can allow us to enhance and look at different problems in different perspectives. So all these different things are, again, opportunities that that the UTC has provided us now from a funding perspective. Now we're looking to collaborate and come up with some more research opportunities to address some of the more local and problems or issues or challenges that you may have. So this is a great opportunity to get some additional resources and be able to work together as agencies. So again, I want to thank you for the opportunity for giving me to present a little bit more on the UTC, the things that we're doing, and some of the challenges that we see as far as upcoming opportunities in research and collaboration. So again, I want to also thank ODOT for this opportunity and FIRST for giving me the opportunity to present on these subjects. So again, if you want to know where I get all these images, I use Midjourney bot. It's pretty cool if you want to design your own images and don't have to worry about sourcing them or looking them out online. But with that said, that is my presentation for today, and I'm open for questions, and however I can answer for them, that'd be great.
Sal, Jeffrey was asking you to say what a PDO acronym means. What's that refer?
Oh yeah, so I apologize. That's property damage only crash.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So fender benders. So again, I apologize for that. I overlooked that. So trucking and the truckers are asked to not park because they're being involved in these smaller lawsuits, these smaller insurance claims, because their cars or them as they're pulling out of the truck parking facilities are hitting cars or other vehicles. But yeah, that's that. But I am open for questions, thoughts, ideas, opportunities.
Thank you again, Sal. I guess we're a little bit behind, but happy to take maybe one or two questions. I guess just one quick clarification. So, Sal, if you are interested in collaborating, it's probably the best thing is to talk to you if you have any ideas about proposals for your UTC.
Yeah, you can, I know, shoot me an email. We can discuss, we can talk. Maybe you have research needs or thoughts or opportunities that you think having access to some of this freight telematic data or any other type of information or research opportunities could be a great start for us for conversation. So yes.
Thank you. And just kind of reiterate what Sal was mentioning from my own perspective. When I was in Louisiana, I managed a regional UTC. The technology transfer aspect of that was really big, and we definitely included public agencies, and I think we did a lot of good work to take that research and integrate it into, at least in Louisiana, and DOTD. So just kind of remind folks here that this is another option for us to try to leverage, and appreciate Sal for you talking about your center.
Thank you again. Appreciate it.